Hello everybody and welcome back to the Fortress of Solitude. Today we're going to be talking about Star Wars Issue 1 by Alex Segura and Phil Noto. The new era of Star Wars comics begins right here, as in the wake of the Battle of Jakku, the New Republic faces yet another threat to their quest to free the galaxy. As out on the edge of the Fenrir sector, Luke Skywalker leads Squadron 77 on a hunt for some pirates. Rin, the pilot who survived Moff Adelhard's attack from the Battle of the Jakku series, has joined Luke and his squad, although she doesn't really seem to have the patience for what seems to be run-of-the-mill patrol missions, especially after losing so many people at Jakku. Alex Segura, who wrote the big 12-part Battle of Jakku series, takes on the ongoing here and is pretty much continuing on from the story he left in that series. It's a little bit after that story finished, but it's basically picking up the pebbles he left in that story's wake. Now, I wasn't too fond of that previous series. The first arc was pretty damn good, but the more the book went on, the more it just got too overpacked and bloated with intertwining plots, and it had a problem with using so many words to state something that was just so simple. It didn't need to do that a lot of the time, and it could have been whittled down to maybe even just a 6-issue mini instead of a 12. And that's not even mentioning the fact that it played pretty fast and loose with the already pre-established canon of Battle of Jakku and that series, being that it was basically adapting the aftermath set of novels or things that would happen in those novels into the comic, and nothing really translated all that well. I do like though that some of his characters like Rin here are continuing through and probably going to get a bit more character development and a bit more well-rounded development in who they are as people, since they didn't particularly get all that much in those series because there was a lot going on in the Battle of Jakku series. Soon their patrol is interrupted by a pirate ship whizzing by, with Luke citing it as the same type of ship that raided the nearby Pyros. The squad give chase and are soon confronted by an Imperial Remnant Star Destroyer, which is now being run by the pirates somehow. The group figure it's an ambush, but it's too late as Luke and the others are overcome by the fighters, which seemingly come out of nowhere. The squad pilot Sandrin bears the brunt of the attack, finding 3 fighters are hot on her tail, as the other squadron members are all kept at a distance, unable to help her out. Sandrin does try to head towards Rin for help, but her X-Wing explodes as one of the fighters lands a lucky shot. Not wanting more people to die, Luke calls for a retreat, but Rin, ever the hothead, wants to go after the pirate who killed Sandrin, giving chase after the ship as it dives towards the planet, seemingly damaged in the fight. The thing I quite like about this encounter is just how out of depth the New Republic seems to be at this point, and that was kind of a winning thing of Segura's previous story, where he did portray the New Republic as a very out of depth sort of organization. They were still very young and in their infancy like they are here, and they weren't really ready for a lot of the things, especially what Moff Adelhard was throwing at them. And I like that that's sort of continuing on here, where they didn't expect there to be Imperial Remnant or, you know, pirates with such firepower out here. And there's also a little bit of that arrogance kind of creeping in, where we've seen it in stuff like Ahsoka as well, where they get complacent because, oh, the Empire is defeated, right? The Emperor is no longer around, so the evil is gone, which means the evil is all gone, but it's really not. It's still there, and it still needs to be dealt with, and I like that we're continuing that through here. Luke accompanies Rin after the pirate, whose ship crashes onto the forest moon below. Luke tells his squad to head back to Chandrila and tell Admiral Akbar what they're up against, giving them a bit more forewarning than what happened with Adelhard. Luke disembarks his ship and suddenly senses the dark side, much like his feeling he got when on Dagobah when he went into the cave and fought a vision of his father. He ignites his saber and races off after Rin, who has caught the pirate getting out of his ship, readying for a fight. Now, this was kind of spoiled by covers and solicitations that I saw, but we know that this guy is part of the Nagai, an old race from the original 1970s Star Wars comic series. And to my knowledge, this is them being reintroduced into canon. And I kind of like that they are going to be playing a big part in this era of comics. They're bringing them back and I guess making them the bad guys, or they're going to have a hand in helping the bad guys or something. It's still very early to see what their role is going to be, but I think that's quite cool that they're repurposing things from the old comics, much like how they did Valance, and he's become very popular because of it. Back on Chandrila, Leia and Mon Mothma talk about Pyros, with Mon not sure the once member of the Old Republic wants anything to do with the New Republic. citing how their new young leadership isn't really eager to negotiate. Leia doesn't want to let recent battles dissuade them from making the upcoming trade summit work though, and they need to work at welcoming the galaxy into the New Republic. She's hopeful that they will work something out. Leia has had a great constant through the Charles Soule books to Segura's previous arc and now this. She is steadfast in her beliefs, and even when she began to waver in the constant strain of war, which we saw at the end of the Charles Soule run and through Segura's book, she just kept going. She knew she had to keep moving on, knowing that the galaxy will be free from the poison of the Empire. Mon and Leia head into the meeting with the Perosi delegation, meeting with Prime Minister Kezran Almovar. I really liked the design of the Perosi. It kind of screams like elegance and wealth. It's this black and gold look. It's also kind of a look you'd see like a villain use. Like I remember early like Crimson Dawn would wear stuff like this, so there's a very villainous air to it all, but it just looks really quite cool. It's such a great look, especially with like gold droids and black droids, and then you've got like these guards that look very similar to the Crimson Dawn guards as well, just there in the background. It's a very cool look for these new characters. Leia is happy to meet the delegation, eager to get to work in trying to find a deal with them. Things, however, take a shift as Kezran believes the New Republic are acting like a bully to them, trying to force them to join the New Republic. Mon and Leia, however, take this seriously, since all they want is for Pyrrhus to join them in making the galaxy a safer and better place. But Kezran does bring up a good point, since who benefits from all of this the most, since even their goodwill supplies that the Republic have been sending them haven't actually reached the planet thanks to all of the pirates, and the New Republic aren't really doing anything to stop them, and it's showing weakness in their ranks. Kezran is worried that joining the larger Republic will also mean they lose their leadership status, because their planet has kind of taken the parental role, as you will, in their little system, the Fenrir system, and has kind of lead the other planets to join the New Republic, and they think that joining them is going to cause that to come to an end and kind of break up that leadership that they have formed. I really like how blindsided Leia is by all of this, but instead of, staying shocked and can't seem to comprehend that someone wouldn't want to join the New Republic, she actually ends up kind of playing this woman's game, realizing that she is just trying to like stoke fires, especially when she brings up Counselor Aletia, who is there helping Leia. And Aletia was a character from the Battle of Jakku series who was a spy amongst Moff Adelhard's cadre, and she has since become more of a role in the New Republic, and somehow the Perosi have learned to gossip about this, and I like that she tried to use that against Leia, but Leia is just steadfast and doesn't want to entertain gossip that they've heard around the Senate. While Leia deals with the Perosi, cyborg bounty hunter Valance is tossed out of a cantina on Guata. The people who toss him out want to teach him a lesson, and the thugs represent the Xantark, a gang who Valance is there after, and who tell Valance that their boss isn't there, so instead of just handing him over to their boss when he gets back, they've just decided they're going to kill him. The thugs, however, are stopped in their tracks by a blaster bolt fired by Han Solo, who has come to help out his old war buddy. Now this is what I have been kind of waiting for. Han was sorely missed in that Battle of Jakku series. He only appeared in the last couple of issues here and there, but it could, mainly because if he was in that book, there would be mass continuity issues with stuff that we'd seen him in previously, like Battlefront 2 and its campaign and a few other things here and there. But I like now that we're free from that, we can have him in the stories again, and it's really damn cool to see him, especially because he's rocking the jacket he wore in the Solo prequel movie. He's obviously dug that out of the Falcon's closet or something and decided he's going to wear it, and it's a great look. I like that it's not just his classic look, it's a really great look for him. And for those who don't know, Valance and Han actually have a past together, as they both came up through the Imperial Academy and trained as pilots together, and then they kind of both went off on their own separate ways, but now they're back together. Valance was also a main character of the Bounty Hunter book by Ethan Sachs, and was really a big player in the last couple of years of Star Wars stories, because he was just so popular. Everyone really liked him, and I very much liked him, and I like that during that whole time he got all this really great character development with his like former flame from when he was young, and then Lieutenant Hayden joined him, and he just did all of this really cool stuff. But he had all this really great character development, and during all that time, Han was in Carbonite and never got to like see his friend do all of this. And I believe this is their first time meeting since before Han was frozen. I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure this is either the first or one of the first times post Carbonite that Han has met with him. The duo open fire on the thugs, taking cover as Han reveals he's not there on any New Republic business. He's there on his own. Acting as if they've never been apart, the duo managed to blast a nearby generator, which explodes, engulfing the thugs in fire. While the thugs aren't down for the count, it gives them enough time to escape to the Millennium Falcon, which is luckily parked close by, where Han wants to hear about the Xantrak gang from Valance. Back in the Fenrir sector, Luke and Rin face down the Nagai pirate, who tells the Jedi that he and his New Republic shouldn't have come there and they're not welcome in the sector. The pirate attacks, but Luke easily disarms him, demanding to know who he is and what the pirates are. And the man asks Luke to come close to him, and I just really can't believe that Luke would step this close to a guy who he's just disarmed and has been revealed to be like a pirate. Why would you ever go close to someone who's probably got a knife hidden somewhere on them, or, you know, something? I don't know why he's so trusting of this guy. Also, and it feels very obvious, but he's definitely going to be part, or at least related to, the Xantrak gang, since it seems like all our stories are sort of starting to come together, and it's all going to be, you know, the Xantrak gang are actually protecting Perosi and, you know, that sort of stuff, or, you know, the Xantrak gang is the Perosi. While Luke deals with the pirate, Leia meanwhile learns that the New Republic has been ejected from the trade summit at the request of Pyros. Han meanwhile also learns about this deadly new gang, finding that they are all in very big trouble as Luke demands to know what the pirate means, having told him something we don't actually get to see, which I don't know why they didn't just, you know, show the scene of him being told something, but we don't actually get to see it. It just feels like there's like a bit missing here. Luke is suddenly blasted by an explosion as the pirate blows himself up, knocked unconscious by the blast, as Leia is contacted by Kezrans, who reveals that the New Republic aren't essential as they think they are. And on the edge of the Fenrir sector, the New Republic blockade ships find the entire sector itself has been blockaded by ships, who demand that they turn back or be destroyed. As the blockade runner is attacked by the ships, Kezran tells Leia that the planets in the Fenrir sector have all decided to fall under one banner, their own, and will no longer trade with the New Republic until a new treaty has been agreed upon, and any trespassers into their sector will be dealt with lethal force. Now this is quite cool because obviously we see this transport getting attacked like almost immediately, so it means this new sector that's opened up with Pyros just isn't playing around. They don't want anyone in there. But obviously Luke and Rin are essentially behind enemy lines now, and they can't exactly just, you know, fly out of there because, you know, they're Republic, they're in Republic X-Wings, they'll get shot down and attacked, and it might be seen as a threat of war. So I'm intrigued to see what their story is going to be, whether they have to like kind of like fight behind enemy lines or like try and sneak out of the sectors. Very exciting little story for him to be. And I like that Luke has also got like a partner here in Rin, in like, and it's really like all three of our main characters have a partner. You know, Luke's got Rin, Han has Valance, doesn't have Chewie, we haven't seen Chewie yet. And Leia has Mon and Aletheia over in the Senate. So I like that they've been given sort of sidekicks throughout all three of these plot lines. I can also see what Segura is doing with this whole blockaded sector and stuff, because it feels like this is kind of like a canon version of the Truce of Bakura book, which in the Legends canon line, it's technically, I think, the first thing that happened after Return of the Jedi. Like, it literally happens right after Return of the Jedi. And it kind of has similar beats to that story. It's been a while since I read that, but I do remember there's, like, the Bakurans have their own sector of space, and there's, like, Imperial Remnant involved, and the Republic have to get involved, and our main characters are kind of neck deep in intrigue. It's some exciting stuff, and I like that we're still pulling ideas from the old canon and bringing them into the new canon and reshaping them and refining them a little bit more. Star Wars Issue 1 begun the next era of ongoing comics with a big opening issue, setting up the book's political intrigue-fueled plot pretty competently and tying together the three plots we have together with our main characters very nicely. Although after Segura's Battle of Jakku series, I am very wary of this ballooning into a bloated multi-plot mess. But so far, it's focusing on Han, Luke, and Leia, our main characters. It's made it very manageable now, and I like the little tie there at the end that kind of balls it all up together. I'm excited since this is also an untapped area of the timeline. There's stories here and there, but for the most part, there is a lot of chances to do some interesting things here we haven't seen before yet. I'm going to give this issue a 7.5 out of 10.